Hey, how's it going, man? This is Michael Grant.
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
No problem, man. How you doing out there? Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Minnesota.
Oh, you're in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Scrapple Town.
That's right.
I love me some Scrapple, bro.
Oh, so cool. And and along with that, again, thank you very much for taking the time to do this. And it's great to be able to talk about this new endeavor that you got going on here with Michael Grant and the Assassins and the debut album, Always the Villain, coming out July 10th through Frontiers Music. I've gotten the chance to be able to check this out over the course of the last week, and I just love seeing the range and diversity that you have on this album. I mean, whether it's a soulful ballad or a really, truly hard rockin' song, I mean, you got everything going on here, and it's just a killer album from start to finish.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, not a problem.
Thank you.
So, with that said, how did this all come together?
I mean, this came together, me just locked in my home studio, coming from, breaking off with LA Guns and venturing into my own, ending a terrible relationship. All these things were all at the same time, and it created the monster we know as Always the Villain, or will know as Always the Villain, coming July 10th. But yeah, it's literally me locked in my own home studio and just kind of having free reign to do whatever I wanted and to piece together this album however I wanted it to sound. And I'm really grateful for that amount of creative control. I'm the kind of artist who feels like I truly need that. And
I absolutely hear that throughout this album. I mean, it feels like it's coming 100% from you, just like from your creative mind, and like all of these details, the continuity of the songs, like everything that's going into it. I mean, obviously with you playing almost everything on the album on every song, I mean, it's great to be able to see that you do have that full freedom to make this what you want it to be.
I've always wanted to make an album this way. I've always been involved with, the band setting where, even though with the Never After I was writing all the songs, it was still trying to make it this band. And, really, even those songs were just from my head. And so this one was, but with the Never After, we had, producers who were always kind of fighting to get their ideas or their opinions or whatever into the song. And you'd have to literally fight back. Sometimes it would be exhausting. And sometimes those tracks, when you would give in to a producer's idea or whatever, it gets diluted from, your original vision and ends up being not quite what you wanted. And so I'm thankful that this time around with Frontiers, they gave me complete creative control to kind of do whatever I wanted, which is a pretty big gamble on their part, to just be like, all right, let's just give this dude, let him do whatever he wants. A lot of times that's kind of unheard of. People are always trying to micromanage or from behind the scenes shape a band or their sound or influence it or tell them they should do a track more like this or that. I am so grateful that I didn't have any of that.
Yeah, and again, just listening to it from the fan perspective, I mean, it sounds like it's so full of real emotion that's going on here, whether it's fun songs, whether it's more sad songs, everything that's going on in between. I mean, it's just a very authentic album. And yeah, I mean, the fact that you were stuck in your studio, being able to work on this, work on every single detail with it and everything. I mean, that's another great thing that's really happened, especially over the course of the last few decades, is the idea of being able to have a home studio and being able to dial in things and get the equipment you need to get the perfect sounds that you want to on an album.
Absolutely. There could not be a better time to be a musician than right now. And the new wave of technology is kind of coming in. It's making people who want to have, be able to record at a home studio with a nominal budget. It's giving them the ability to have, $100,000 budget sound with just a fraction of the cost if you learn the ways. So we're actually in such a fortunate time to be a musician. There's no better time than right now, except maybe like 30 years from now when technology gets ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's so true. Yeah, and you think about that too. I mean, when you look at like from the 70s or 80s and the use of like you know, like a more electric sounds, and be it from the synths or drums as well, and like all the drum processing and drum programs that they have now. And for people who don't even know how to play drums, they can at least figure out how to make a beat. So if they do decide to get a drummer on there, they can get an idea of what they want to go for.
That's what I'm saying. Back then, you know, you couldn't do that. In the 70s, there's no way you could do that. You literally had to be in a studio, mic'd up, a pretty considerable budget, you know, with an engineer, and record that shit physically. And now, I mean, anyone can make music now. Anybody, as long as you have the creativity and the due diligence, you do your due diligence, you're all good.
Oh, totally. So with that in mind, I mean, what was that like for you, being able to track all of these instruments and vocals by yourself, and being able to go from like song to song and being able to show that off with you playing everything?
You know, there's a part of it that's kind of lonely, but there's a part of it that I actually love. I really feel like this style of recording makes you dive pretty deep into yourself. I mean, you're stuck with yourself for hours and hours on end, and you're writing these super personal songs and personal lyrics, and trying to deliver vocal performances that hopefully convey that kind of emotion to the listener. It could be daunting when you're thinking about the grand scheme of things, but when you're able to kind of turn a blind eye to that stuff, it can be pretty magical as well. But like I said, it could also be a nightmare.
Oh yeah, and that can go so much into the equipment you have, the acoustics that you have, the inspiration and creativity when you're working on that. I mean, there's so many factors that go into it, but when you get a final product like this, I mean, it sounds absolutely worth it with the way that it went into it, because it just has that real authentic feel behind it, and that needs to happen in 2020, having a real authentic album. Yeah,
I agree with you, man. There is definitely some inauthenticism out there.
Oh, totally. And, you know, with
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, you know, it's just like that's why I appreciate the fact that you actually did track almost everything on there. I mean, obviously there's a few songs on drums you didn't get to do, but you know, it's just the fact that you covered so much of this just on your own, and being able to produce yourself and making sure everything's the way that you want it to be. I mean, just like you were mentioning before, I mean, the label didn't tell you what to do. There was no producers or engineers telling you what to do. I mean, it was all on you, and that is a gamble, but it really paid off.
It definitely all falls on me. And like I said, that can either be a great thing, and if shit goes sour, that could always be a bad thing, you know. But I'm grateful that I had that opportunity to have free reign and, you know, be my own captain on my captain kind of deal. I'm glad that I was given that opportunity. I've always kind of wanted it. But it was also an interesting struggle to find that within myself and run with it for a minute, you know?
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask that. I mean, was there like any pressure or stress, like any good examples of that when you were recording?
There was definitely stresses. A lot of those stresses had to do with like relationships I was in at the time, and I was with this one girl, and we were together for a year, and I didn't write a song for that entire year. And to me, that was like a huge sign as a songwriter, as an artist, as a poet, to be with someone who doesn't at any degree inspire you. It was like, okay. There was definitely things that were kind of making it hard, or, you know, making me climb an uphill battle. And it was definitely a struggle to find some of that strength to just be like, you know what, fuck this. I'm gonna do what I do best.
So with that in mind, I mean, was that the inspiration, that part in particular about not being able to write? Was that a part of Killing Me Slowly? Because when I hear that, it really does sound like that.
I think it's hard to remember exactly what songs where I was in that state of mind, but I don't think Killing Me Slowly was a byproduct of that. That one, it might have had a little bit of that effect, because I actually had the music for Killing Me Slowly for years, and you know, years ago it was a totally different song. I've since then rewritten like all the lyrics and the chorus and all the guitar. It's like it's a new thing, but yeah, so there was a little bit of that where like I'd write music, and I I didn't know what words to put to it yet. I didn't know what it was making me feel exactly. And then finally, when the feeling came through, it just came out like a river rush.
Oh, and it's just so cool when that inspiration does finally hit you. And, you know, again, just like listening to the album, it's just like hearing...
It's such a relief.
Oh, totally. And, you know, again, you know, just when you have that free reign to do what you want to, I mean, it's great to be able to see like all these different sides of you, like whether it's getting like quite heavy that in parts, whether it's getting quite somber in ballads. I mean, it's great to be able to see that range that you're doing. And I mean, was that the intent from the whole time, like being able to do everything that you wanted to do on an album, or did that come as you were writing it?
I think I was just trying to write my Purple Rain, my Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, my Siamese Dream, I was just trying to write as musically and poetically true to myself as I possibly could. You know, there's no stories on this. Everything is me. There's no, like, I'm writing about some kid named Joe. It definitely comes from a very, very personal place. And once I release it, it's all up to you. It's the audience's now. Whatever they make it about, that's what it's about. But for me, putting it to tape, recording, writing, arranging, all that stuff, it came from such a personal place. And I just hope everyone enjoys it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's definitely the impression I'm getting through it so much. Again, we've talked about that so much with the authenticity and just being able to interpret songs that way, and just knowing that it is straight from the heart, everything that's going on there. And it's funny when you mention that about like having it up to other people's interpretations of the songs, because I really love the interpretations that happened with Red Light Run and Anthem of Us for the music videos. I love the way they were done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
What was it like actually being able to do those?
Well, I recorded Red Light Run and these 3 acoustic videos all on the same day. It was actually a very stressful day. I had the flu at the time, so in the video, I actually had the flu. Hopefully I didn't infect anybody. But I was really sick, and I had to do quite a bit of work in one day all by myself. And I had the help of Pat Tygrove and my friend Twiglet, who was the model in the video. They really came through and helped out with some stuff, but for the most part, I was just doing shots for like 14 hours, 15 hours or something like that. And it seems like it was a mountain of work, but in the end, it was worth it. But what I remember, it was exhausting for me, especially, I had to do shots on the drums, shots on the bass, shots on the guitar, shots on mic, shots on piano, it was exhausting. I shudder to think what like Eddie Murphy in Coming to America felt like filming that, being as he was so many characters. Like, I felt like that. Like, I was like, man, I'm like, I'm the barber, I'm the prince, I'm this. So it was a little daunting. It was a little daunting getting through that day. Obviously, like I said, I did not feel very good, but I had to get it done. I had a deadline. I had to get it out. And so, but sometimes some of the best work that you do is under those kinds of circumstances, those kinds of hardships, those kinds of tricky little situations. They actually sometimes lead to some of the best work. Like, I've had a lot of people come to me. A lot of times, I love the video, but sometimes as an artist, you always feel like something could possibly be better. But even though I love the video, I still have those moments. But when I talk to people about how they feel about the video, I'm pleasantly surprised that they're like, man, that was a fantastic video. I was like, really? Oh, great. Us artists have just as much insecurities as the next guy. We're always like, was it good? Like, and, more often than not, my friends that can be really real with me, they were impressed and pleased and stoked about it. So I'm happy how it came out. And I think, the director, Alex Huggins, did a great job. I think everybody on the crew did an amazing job. Like, I couldn't have done it without that's the help I had, was from, either Alex Huggins' crew or, Pat Ty or Twiglet. Like, that was the only, everything else. Oh, and the crew at Nightbird Studios, too. Oh, that's just incredible, the way that turned out. And yeah, I mean, checking out the acoustic versions of the songs, I never would have guessed you had the flu during that. And yeah, I mean, it sounds total
like
flu.
Yeah.
I see, as an artist, I can. Like, when I listen to it, I'm like, oh, I totally can tell I have a flu. I'm all raspy voiced and, But, you know, I'm glad that to other ears, they're not picking it out as nitpicky as I am.
Yeah, I mean,
for me, one sour note or, you know, one wrong vocal inflection could sometimes be a nightmare. Like, oh, God.
Oh, I can totally understand. And yeah, I mean, just the way I was listening to him, I was just imagining that you just had a little more of a gritty take when you were doing the acoustic versions of it. And, you know, knowing that you had the flu and you were able to push through with all of that, let alone do all the different shots and being able to play all of the instruments and in one day being able to do that. I mean, it shows a lot of tenacity of what you can do even under bad circumstances, and you can put out a quality product like you did.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of work. It was definitely tiring. I'm glad it's done, and I know there's a ton more work to be done and a lot more days like that to be had.
Oh, totally. And, you know, let alone when everything starts to get back to some kind of normal and you're actually able to start playing these songs in the live setting again.
Man, I can't wait for that. We have an Asian tour we're booking right now for 2021, and going to slowly try to add U.S. dates to that as the country reopens and seeing where we're at. I mean, I'm itching to play shows. I'm itching to, you know, tour and do all the things that we normally would do as artists or bands. And I can't wait to do all that. And, yeah, man.
Oh, totally. And I can't wait to be able to hear the live versions of some of these songs. And just, again, you know, just like I love what's going on so much on record, but this whole album feels like it's something that should be performed live. And I totally think that that's going to be incredible to hear the live versions of these songs when that finally happens.
I surely hope so. I mean, we'll definitely see once the time comes. I'm glad you're digging what you hear so far. And right now, I can't ask for more than that. We'll see what it sounds like live.
Oh, totally. So, yeah, again, you were mentioning you still have quite a bit of work to be able to do. I know you're doing press here, obviously, and then, you know, there's a lot of build-up still to come with being able to promote the album. But when you're not focusing on the album, like, what are you doing right now to be able to pass the time?
Well, I'm a new father. My baby's 4 months old.
Oh, congratulations.
Right in the age of quarantine. So, really interesting time to have a baby, but I think that takes up a lot of my time right now. And, on my off time, I try as much as I can to write or record whenever the inspiration hits me. And, you know, other than that, I think I'm just like everybody else, trying to get groceries, not get sick and stuck indoors a lot. But, you know, I'm grateful and thankful that I got my new family with me and I get to spend, you know, extra time with my daughter that, you know, moments I might miss out on, doing what I normally do around this time of year, which would be like touring for months on end or weeks on end and missing blocks of her life. I still feel pretty blessed that, like, you know, I'm kind of stuck at home with the cutest thing in the world.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a very fair trade-off to be able to spend time with her. And yeah, and I gotta imagine that's going to be able to help create some creativity as well, too. I mean, not necessarily only songs written about her, but, you know, just the idea of like being able to grow and knowing what it's like to be a father now, and, you know, and then when you eventually get back on the road, you know, what it's like to be able to have that personal life and life on the road and being able to experience it in a new way.
My daughter, you know, my daughter, Emma Girl, heavily influenced this album. I mean, because all of that was going on at the same time. And the birth of my new daughter, a whole soap operatic kind of thing going on in a different direction. But, yeah, man, they have heavy influences on a lot of the track. So I'm thankful for that, too.
Yeah, and again, I mean, that's what really makes this album feel emotional again, because, you know, there's obviously some pain that's going on with this album, but there's a lot of joy that's going on there, too. And it's great to be able to see, like, all these different sides of what a person can go through and different emotions that you have, because not everyone's just going to be able to write love songs all the time or write hate songs all the time. I mean, people go through different things in life, and it's great to hear that throughout this album. Right.
The thing I wanted to do least was just create something that was inauthentic or something trying to be badass or trying to be this or that. I just wanted to create an authentic piece of art that was truly a huge part of me, if not all of me, just very musically and poetically truthful.
And again, I can't say it enough. I mean, it absolutely sounds like you made that mission accomplished here, and I just love what's going on with this album.
Thank you.
Always the Villain, and it's been awesome to be able to talk to you about all of this. I mean, the fact that this album's coming out in a few weeks on July 10th through Frontiers Music, and just being able to see this debut finally coming out, and everything to look forward to in 2021, and everything in the future with the band. It was great to be able to talk to you about all of it, and again, I thank you very much for taking the time to do so.
Absolutely, man. We got a video for our song Nightmares coming out in a week or two as well, so everyone watch out for that.
Oh, that's awesome. That is one of my favorite tracks off the album. I'm glad to see that that's getting a video.
Thank you. Yeah, we got a video for that, and we have a simple little lyric video for Runaway coming out as well.
Oh, and that's another one I love too. I mean, I really love the speed that's going on with Runaway, so yeah, again, it's just like it's a great diverse list of videos and singles that are coming out from this thing, and it's great to see that.
Thank you. There's a lot of summer jams on this record. I'm hearing from people. They're like, it sounds like summer. I'm like, rad, we're in summer.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a perfect way to describe it.
Definitely.